Like this era is the best, as you said. Like if you have like some cold approach skills down, you don't even have to be really good at it. Just some sort of cold approach skills are already good. In this era, like, look at your competition. There are like some fanboys. This is your competition. Like that's why I'm saying this is the best era to start actually with the game. You are actually in the best era ever. Because to all the guys like 50 years ago, trust me, you would have been wiped out. Because the guys 50 years ago, they had 3 times of your testosterone level. You wouldn't stand a chance. I think this is the best era because guys are always complaining about, I wish I would have been born like 50 years ago, 60 years ago, where women were feminine and this and that, and there was no Instagram, whatever, no social media. And I'm telling guys, like, you wish you wouldn't be in that era, trust me, because if you check that testosterone levels, and there was an article, a research article by Reuters, they published, it was, I think it was from 2015, but they said like in the year 2000, the average testosterone level of a guy was 655, I think, nanogram per deciliter. And this was the average level. And in 2015, it went down to 455. So that means like 10 years later, in 2025, must be around like 350 or something. So almost a half from 2000 to 2025, and it drops year by year. Doctors and researchers, they are unclear of why it is, but many they are still arguing. They say it's of course because once the processed food, all this chemical shit. And on the other hand, that men do more and more of a woman's work. Of course the service sector took over like since the 70s. Like you sit in a warm office, you have your laptop, you're doing nothing else than that. The only physical work you do is like getting your ass up to take a piss, during work. And of course, like what do you think? Like where testosterone should raise? Like just because you go like 3 times to the gym, That's why back in the days, like men didn't even have to go to the gym. They were all lean, muscular. If you look at pictures from your grandpa, even your father, they looked way different than nowadays. Way more healthy.
Yeah, I think,
both
100%. I think, that sedentary lifestyle, like if you are eating junk food, if you're sitting your ass at home, if you're facing absolutely zero adversity, or that you're like stressed, but it's like work stress and not like physical stress, then I mean, your testosterone is going to drop. It's as simple as that. And not only that, I'm sure there's a lot of other mechanisms that are going on your body and mind that are having like an adverse effect as well. Well, 100% there is. I mean, I always see this in our students, right? Like you might even see this in yourself. I'm talking to the audience out there. When you have a period where you're like going out, you're testing yourself, you're working out, you're eating well, you're sleeping well, you feel so much stronger and confident and masculine and dominant. Like you notice that. So yeah, I mean, don't be one of these fucking lazy fucks sitting on a couch with testosterone that's fucking lower than your grandmother. Okay, it's not a good way to live.
Yeah, true. I mean, one of the best summers I had last year was like when I was 1 week helping out, like cutting trees, moving furnitures, helped repairing the car and stuff like that. I did like a real job, like which was normal back in the days, and in this 1 week I felt like really, really good. I didn't have to go to the gym. There was no phone distraction, stuff like that. But I think society has to shift as well, again, back into, because I think it's the fault as well of society discrediting physical work. They say, oh, just because you're doing physical work, you assume to be less intelligent, than some guy in the office.
Yeah, I mean, well, like I think there's probably a balance there where for like an advanced society, having a lot more people working in kind of tech office jobs, things like that is probably going to be important. But yeah, at the same time, like if you are an IT guy out there, like, go play fucking sport, go out and game. Like there's so many things you can compensate. Like if you have an office job, like even for myself, like I spend a lot of time fucking in front of my computer coaching and working on things, like of course. But it doesn't mean that you have to be like destined to have low testosterone beta energy because you have to sit down in front of a computer. Like there's so many things you can compensate for that. So yeah, I think
even game raises your testosterone,
100%. Yeah. Any form of like that type of adversity, any form of socialization, even winning. There was a study that was that said people that win video games tend to have like a slight increase to testosterone and a slight decrease when they lose a game. So even that level of competition, even when it's virtual and not the best, right? But that's probably the worst type of winning you could have. Even that affects it. So 100%. Get out there and be social.
Yeah. because nowadays it's getting like everybody who tries to be competitive, it's like, oh, you're going against the flow, and they try to demonize being competitive, but it's every man's nature to be like
Yeah,
this.
100%. Yeah. I mean, it's part of how we are, and that's why like sometimes you see kids and shit, and people expect like little boys not to fight. Like, fuck it, it's a part of their upbringing. Like, let them bicker and fight and do this shit, and yeah, it's important. Like, dude, they're fucking. Now I'm gonna start like an anti-woke thing. They're fucking like awards that everyone gets a fucking award, no one's allowed to lose and bullshit like that. Like, people should learn how to fucking lose, and then have the confidence to realize, okay, that doesn't affect who I am. I'm going to get up and I'm going to fucking try again, and I'm going to improve myself. Dude, I think we're going to start to see it in game with the younger guys that are coming through that are just never going to want to face any type of rejection whatsoever, right? It's, dude, like our grandparents were just saying, they went to war and shit. And then like, us, like me growing up, I was like, oh man, approaching's tough. I think like we're probably 2 generations away from, if I approach and I get rejected, I need therapy for the next 3 years. Like, it's people need to learn to fucking lose, right? They need to learn to, shit happens. You got to get up and get over it.
I mean, we are away, like already, like we are Gen X, Gen Z, is the generation after us, and they grew up in a different era, and that's what I'm saying. Like when we started, or at least when I started, there was no social media yet. There was no Tinder, no online dating, which would have maybe, if I would be younger nowadays, like of course I would start probably with online dating, because this is something which where I face the least rejection anyway in person. I'm safe behind the screen, basically. I'm safe behind my phone, and I would start out like this probably as well, but. In my case, there was nothing. It was just, hey, cold approach the girl. There was no social media to text her. Hey, I saw you in the club yesterday in this red skirt, but I had no balls to approach you, whatever. But you had to get out there. You had to get out of your comfort zone, and this is how it started.
I feel like there's a bigger barrier to entry for cold approach now, and I think it's a good thing. Like, if you're a guy there that wants to fucking cold approach, like, it can be a good or a bad thing the way you look at it. Like, it is really, really tough, but because it's so tough, no one's fucking doing it. And because it's so tough, when you do it, girls just think you have so much fucking balls. Like, holy shit. If it was easy, like, for example, Tinder, you run into those problems, right? Now you go on Tinder, yeah, girls are swiping knowing you, right? Like, they don't give a fuck. If you're not good looking enough, if you're not capturing their attention, they don't care. Whereas it's a little bit different when you're in person, right? You go open in person, and now like you can be less good looking and still build attraction a lot easier than you would on Tinder. So yeah, every time when I was younger and I was like, this is really tough to do, I always thanked the universe for that. Thank you for making this tough, because as an average looking dude, I can make this work right now. So yeah, it's helpful.
I mean, nowadays I'm happy that it was tough for me back then, because otherwise I wouldn't have learned things which I did.
That's why.